Hey everyone, Ryan here at eTrailer. Today on our 2015 GMC Sierra 1500, we're going to be showing you how to install the etrailer.com trailer hitch receiver. But before we do that, let's take a minute, we'll check this one out and make sure it's going to be the right setup for you. This will be a really good option for those of you whose Sierras didn't come equipped from the factory with the trailer hitch. It's going to bolt right up in place and be a good all-around general purpose hitch. This would probably be the one that I would go with just because I think it looks good and it can handle just about anything you want to throw at it. I do like the way the hitch looks. For the most part, it's going to be hidden. You know, it's tucked up nice and tight against the bottom of the bumper. It almost looks like a factory option, if you were to ask me. I do like the finish. It's a matte black carbide type finish. And these tend to kind of hold up a little bit better over time. You know, they're a little bit harder to scratch up and things like that. With that said, this is going to have a 2" by 2" receiver tube opening. Super common size, a ton of different things are going to work with it. And it's going to use that standard 5/8 pin and clip. Keep in mind though, one doesn't come included. If you need one, not a huge deal. Grab it here at eTrailer. A lot of times too, if you end up buying a new accessory, it'll come with one. Just something to look out for there. And these safety chain openings are a loop style. You know, they're nice and thick and large enough to allow you to use pretty much any size hook that your trailer might have on it. The hitch is going to work if your truck happens to be 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive, and it doesn't matter if you have a short or long bed. The hitch will still bolt up into place. And as far as the weight capacities go, it's going to give us some pretty good numbers. Maximum gross tongue weight rating, that's going to be 1,000 pounds. So that's the amount of weight pushing down on the hitch. And maximum gross trailer weight rating, that's going to be 10,000 pounds, or the amount of weight pulling on the hitch. That'll be the weight of your trailer plus anything that you might have in or on it. This can be used with the weight distribution system, which is a separate component. What happens when you use that, it'll keep your truck and your trailer level whenever you're towing it down the road. That's pretty popular on campers and enclosed trailers, things of that nature. If that's something you plan on doing, it might be worth checking out. But if you use that weight distribution, the capacities will increase a little bit. Maximum gross tongue weight will go up to 1,200. Maximum gross trailer weight rating will go up to 12,000. Now with all that in mind, I do always like to recommend, it's always a good idea, just grab your truck's owner's manual, check in there and make sure that it can handle that amount of weight safely. We'll grab a couple measurements now, and these will help us figure out what type of accessories will work out the best. If you go from the ground to the top inside edge of the receiver tube opening, that's going to be about 18 inches. So for those of you pulling a trailer and trying to figure out what type of ball mount that you'll need, one that has a 2 to 4 inch drop would probably work well in most scenarios. And from the center of the hitch pinhole to the edge of your bumper, that's only going to be about 4 inches, which is really good, so you shouldn't really run into too many issues here. But if need be, you can use that to help figure out exactly if any of those folding type accessories that you might have can be stored upright without hitting the back of your truck. There are several other hitches available for the Sierra, and like I said before, this would probably be the one that I would go with if I was planning on doing just general purpose, towing, using an accessory, whatever the case may be. Because it's a good middle of the road hitch. You know, the capacities are a little bit higher than some of the other ones. You know, the appearance looks good and everything else, so kind of a good fit. You know, you can't really ask for too much more out of it. With that said though, if you're looking for something that is a little more heavy duty or overbuilt even for that matter, B&W makes a really nice setup that you could always look into to kind of check that box. But at the end of the day, can't really go wrong. Definitely going to get the job done. And as far as the installation goes, pretty straightforward. Pull a couple of factory bolts out, put the hitch up, bolt it in place. They give you a couple extra bolts that you can use too, so really shouldn't give you too many issues or take up a bunch of your time. But if you don't have a place to work on it or don't feel like messing with it, definitely understand that. You can always use our dealer locator network, and that can help you find a shop in your neighborhood that can set it up for you. But if you're gonna do this yourself, hang around, we'll go ahead and get started on it now. To begin our installation, we're gonna be working underneath the back of your truck, and it definitely helps if you temporarily lower and remove the spare tire. Gives you a lot more room to work. But with that said, we're gonna be focusing on each one of our frame rails here. If we look at our frame, we're going to have these two factory bolts here. We need to remove them. And from this point on, whatever we do to one side of our truck, we'll also do to the other side because it'll be set up the same way. But this bolt, it's a 21 millimeter head. Pull that out. Same thing with this one. That'll also be a 21. Go ahead and pull these out for now. The hitch is going to have 4 attachment points on each side. So we'll reuse our factory bolts for those 2 holes. And then you're going to have these factory holes in the frame here. And what you can do, take a spacer block and a carriage bolt. You want that carriage bolt to sit down flat in that spacer block. Just go ahead and set those right there in them holes. The most front 2 attachment points on our hitch, so this hole and this hole, on each side of it, of course, those are going to need a flat washer in between, you know, the top of the hitch and the bottom of the frame. So what I like to do is just take some packing tape and tape it to the hitch, as opposed to trying to hold this heavy hitch up and try to sneak a washer in between there and everything else. It just makes it a lot more manageable. So I'll line that up and then just come back and cut an opening out in that tape so the bolt can pass through it. If you have someone that can give you a hand with this part, definitely makes it easier because the hitch is pretty heavy. But we're just going to simply line up our hitch. Get everything to pass through here. We're going to reuse the factory hardware. So I'll get that started. And for our new bolts, those are just going to receive flange nuts. Once you have all the hardware in place and tight, we can snug it down. So of course, the factory hardware, you'll use your 21 millimeter. And for the new bolts, you can use a 3/4 inch. Once you get everything snug, you want to make sure to come back with a torque wrench and tighten down all the hardware to the amount specified in your instructions. Now that everything is torqued down, I went ahead and reinstalled our spare tire. No clearance issues with that or anything along those lines. And with that wrapped up, that'll finish up our look at and our installation of the etrailer.com trailer hitch receiver on our 2015 GMC Sierra 1500.